Well, hello everybody. Welcome to Scratch Building and Model Trains with myself, Thomas, and my friend Colin in England. And this is going to be a semi-regular series to show what a brilliant scratch builder and kit basher he is, and also models that he's built and I've built. Well, I'm not good at it as he is, but I'm doing my best on a few things I've worked on, and tips and things like that in how to scratch build. Like I love the old magazines. Do you like the old magazines from like the 60s and 70s, like Model Railway Constructor and the old Model Railroad? They showed you to make things. It wasn't just going and buying things, you know.
Absolutely, yeah. I used to get model railway constructor over here in England, and my friend David used to get railway modeler. So we sort of shared, once a month we get together and have a look what was in the latest magazine and have a good look. Um, I think the magazines have been very much superseded by the internet, which is a phenomenal store of information and advice.
Right.
But you don't very often get it explained in quite the way you do as a one-to-one, as we might be able to assist with this little series we're sort of planning and seeing how we go with. So
The
that
discussion
could be
thing.
good, but
Yeah, and it's also a lot of people can't get the club, so this would be like with the kind of stuff you hear in clubs, the kind of tips and stuff you get. So maybe we can help with that.
yeah,
Now, the first one I want to talk about is anyone who's watched the channel will have seen that Colin built me loads of things. But one of the things, the most recent thing he built me was this boy. This is an Irish 1950s loco called the CIE Turf Burner 1C1. This is in the experimental grey livery. It didn't even have a number at this point while it was being tested on the main lines in Ireland. Amazingly, a highly successful prototype. It came out of during World War II. Ireland couldn't get coal, just couldn't get it, and so the railways found ways to change boilers and heaters into burning turf, which you call peat in other countries, which is a very abundant fuel here. And Ireland was tremendously technologically advanced in building power stations, so there was a good knowledge for us. So they applied it to railways, and after the war ended, Bullard, the engineer from the Southern Railway in England, he made the leader class, didn't he? I believe the leader class over there, which is like an experimental steam
yes, he
engine.
did.
And he brought that
Yes,
technology to Ireland and came up with this guy. Now, it ran on the main lines. It was actually very well rated by crews. It got to seriously high speeds, but the Irish government wanted to full dieselization, so the project was scrapped. And sadly, the prototype was never saved. I believe the Irish Railway Record Society has the whistle somewhere, but that's typical of Irish preservation. It's not like Britain where people genuinely care. Here, it's like a few care, and it's a fighting an uphill battle. So, welcome, Colin. Now,
hello there, folks.
I know
Hmm.
enough to know that this was originally a Lima. Tell us how you built it.
Well, as you're from Ireland, and I know you like your Irish trains, I also know that there's not many prototype locomotives that are available for the Irish market. I mean, if compared with what we have over in Britain, even from sort of 50 years ago, pretty much anything you want you could get. It's even better these days. Now, the Irish seem to be about a good 40, possibly even 50 years behind in this sort of amount of stock available to buy. And that's definitely improving with modern manufacturers, such as Acura scale and what have you. But some of them are hellish expensive. But at the same time, it's a joy to build your own stuff. So I've built you a couple of, well, three locomotives. I've done you a WT tank engine, a W class mogul, and the number 85 Merlin, which was made out of a Hornby compound locomotive with a different boiler fitted to it. So I had quite a bit of fun researching, mainly on the internet, because of course I don't have any Irish magazines or anything, and managed to find some drawings and some help and advice from the Irish Model Railway website, which I was a member of till I got chucked off using the term box opener to insult myself, which I thought was quite bizarre. I got thrown off a website for insulting myself. You can't make this up, but that's
Box,
normie world for you.
box opener. Ooh.
What do I know? So I thought, well, I'll make a complete oddball engine, and Bullied was quite the oddball engineer. I mean, he caused quite a stir with his locomotives on the Southern Railway in the south of England. I think when British Railways finally gave him the boot and he escaped to Ireland for yet more madness, he was involved in, as you've just described earlier, using the local peat and turf as fuel because, of course, price of coal had gone up with Second World War inflation, and the Irish railways were struggling for fuels. I think what kiboshed the actual problem with the fuel, well, not so much the problem with the fuel, but the locomotives was being developed at the same time as they were developing diesel locomotives, and I think there must have been a political decision made by the Irish government to dieselise rather than use the homegrown fuel. So I think the Crossley diesels that were built in Manchester got sent across the A and B class locomotives along with some others,
which turned out to be a disaster.
And yes, they were all re-engined with General Motors two-strokes.
Yeah, they had to re-engine them all with GM. Yeah. They just weren't powerful enough.
Yeah, well, they had the same terrible Crossley two-stroke engine in the Cobo engines in Britain. But basically the same locomotive as the A class, although for some reason they put a Cobo arrangement on. I mean, that's an oddball in itself. Yeah, surprised that Bullied didn't have his hand in that. But what do you know?
It even looks like one of his locos with the flat nose. It's a completely straight front.
Very odd.
But do you have a model of one? Because I'm still going to get one. I'm still planning to get the 00 one.
I do, but it's packed in a box. Is it? Let's have a look. Packed in a box at the moment.
Don't worry about it. Which
time.
One is it? Is it a scratch built one or a Kitbash?
No, it's a resin kit I built probably when I was about 18. So that's going back some, probably all the way back to 1988. That's a bit revealing. So I actually built two. I did them 5701 and 5700, so I could run them as the Condor Container Express. But I didn't get around to building the containers. So there you go.
They ran those. I've seen Cobos. Well, to Americans.
Yeah.
The purpose of them in America, like I saw the FP9 that used FPL9 and 9L, which ran. It was a diesel electric that ran out of Grand Central Station in New York, and the purpose for the 6-wheel truck, the 6-wheel truck at the back was to support the engine and the boiler.
Yeah.
So was it the English one the same way too?
I don't know. I think it was something to do with axle loadings and power outputs. So I don't quite know why they did it. I can't remember now. I'll have read about it in a book, but I've subsequently forgotten, you see, because I have lots of books such as this. This is an excellent book. So that's every locomotive that British Railways built since 1948, and I've had this since, did I get that? 1985, this book, so there's a lot of engines not in it. So
I picked up a load of
drawings and information.
I picked up a load of them for £1 each at Kidderminster Station, I think the Severn Valley, is it? They had they had a book sale, and I got I could have brought home hundreds of books for half nothing. So it's a shame, really, that people are basically giving those books away now.
Well, there's always the internet. I mean, eBay and Amazon. There's all sorts of stuff. I've recently bought this one, British Railways wagons. I think it cost me about £6, including postage. Ridiculously cheap. There it was on eBay. Popped a bid on. Next thing you know,
does it have scale drawings?
There you go. A load of information. Yeah, there's drawings in it. There's all sorts of drawings in it. See, there's oops. There you go. There's some well wagons and bolster wagons. So there's all sorts of information, and books are fantastic for that because you can leave them open at the page, and you don't have to worry about the battery going flat or whether or not it's plugged in with the computer.
Yeah, the internet ever goes
and
down.
It's easier to work on the drawings because you can just lay your ruler straight on for your dimensions. I mean, I can do that with computer screen, but you risk damaging it. So I generally print my drawings off if I've got a because I I managed to, on my time on Irish Railways, I managed to make contact with various chaps, and they've all got these drawings on the computer saved, and you think, well, why don't you stick it in the library on the website? So I'd get them all, and I loaded them all up onto the website. And I asked the permission of them first, and
Yeah.
they said, yeah, fine. So went on there and put the information on. So if there's any builders or anybody interested, they can get on the Irish Railway website and find all these drawings.
Yeah,
And then they lobbed me off for calling
I
myself a box
I
opener.
used your uploads recently. We'll talk about this later, but
Oh yeah, great.
yeah. So back to the turf burner. So
Yes.
you looked at this. You looked at Bullett's obvious oddity, and you said, "Where am I going to get a chassis?"
Yes. So what I did, I again, this is the power of computers. I'd managed to source myself a drawing off the internet, and so I printed it off. Unfortunately, it came out a bit small because that drawing, if you measure it, is 101.5 millimeters long, which is a bit difficult to work off in 4 millimeters scale. So what I did, I measured it, and knowing that the locomotive is 60 foot over buffers, which would work out in 4 millimeter scale at 240 millimeters, I divided one into the other and got a ratio of 0.4229. Multiplied that by 100. So when I went to print it the second time, I increased the print ratio by 42.2%. And I came up with this one, you see, which is perfect 4 millimeter scale. Now, it's slightly fuzzy because of the definition on the print, but what it does do, it gives me the accurate sizes that I can work off. And using various other photos, and I've sent you the photos I worked off so you could slip them into this podcast, I managed to build a pretty good modeler, even if I say so myself. So from that drawing, you see, you've got all the wheel diameters, the wheel centers, the bogie centers, the heights, the widths, and everything. So I cast around for a chassis. Now, I bought myself a Western diesel, and I measured it up and realised that the bogies were about right. In fact, I'll just get my Western diesel. Here's my Western, see? Now, as you can see, the bogies here,
Yeah.
they're an open frame bogie. So what I did was I took the bogies out, took the frames off the bogies themselves, and then all this detail, I carved it flat, but I left these brake hanger bits here. And then I made up, off the drawing that I've got, I made up the bogie side frames and super glued them to what was left of the bogie frames after I'd carved them flat.
Right now,
So there you go.
you made these with plastic card strips and stuff.
Yes,
You
because
did a
if I don't know
brilliant
whether you'll be
job.
able to show that. Yeah, I don't know where you can see underneath. You can sort of see where the flat, because I think it's about a 10 millimeter plate that's sort of stuck on. And then I made up all the axle box details with bits of plastic card and strips, and then stuck a box on where the chain drives are.
Oh, that's what
So
that
that's
is.
how I made
I
the
was
bogie.
wondering what the box was for. That's the chain drive.
Yeah, because what it was, they had, I think there was 6 cylinders on each bogie, and they drove the center axle on a three-way crank, and then they had big sprockets on the ends of the wheels, and then they had a chain that runs between to connect them up, so it becomes all-wheel drive. That's why the boxes are staggered over the bogie, and that
Ah,
little seam on there is so that you can drop the box off and attach, adjust the chains and make sure it's running in a lubricant bath, which is the same as the leader was.
so okay, gotcha. So you got the Western chassis, and you didn't
Yeah.
modify the length or anything.
Well, yeah, the Westerns are quite a long
That's
loco, longer than the turf burner. So
yeah.
basically, what I did was I cut out just the local areas around the bogies, and then the actual frame of the loco, I made the big bellied girder frame of the loco, which on the drawing, if I can show it there. Hang on a minute, get me pencil to point with. If you look, they've got this frame here.
Yeah.
I made that out of plastic card.
Yeah.
Made it round, laid on a rectangle. So I knew the width of the loco because it's all written in the data on the drawing. And then I made up the girder and made like a floor pan that I could glue the superstructure of the loco on, but made it so it was the right width to fit around what was left of the original Lima bogey mounts, you see. So a bit of jiggery pokery, reading the drawings, working out buffer heights and everything. I could sort all that out, you see, and then that was all built and made. Obviously, I had to cut a hole in the top of the floor pan after I made it, but then you see that's not doesn't go to scrap. That's just chucked in the plastic card pile for making smaller bits out of.
Did you use
And then,
any
of course,
of the
you
original
can.
body? Did you use any of the original Western body in this?
No,
It was all discarded.
well, it's gone in my bits box for future
Yeah.
projects.
You didn't fabricate the turf burner around the well, it probably
No,
did anyway.
no, the profile's all wrong. I just use flat plastic card. I just
Yeah.
use flat plastic card.
What
So
what type do
the
you use? Evergreen?
it doesn't use it is Slater's doesn't matter as long as it's plastic card. I use
Yeah.
various thicknesses. So the frame itself and most of the body structure is made out of 30 thou plastic card, which is about 3/4 of a millimeter.
Quarter of a
So
millimeter.
I marked it up. I marked it all out and cut it out as a blank. It's like a very long, flat T shape, if you like, on the side. And then I built the bunker insets separately. But of course, I had to check that they would clear the motor, which fortunately they do. And then the roof is actually a Mark One coach from a Triang Mark One. So here's a Triang Mark One that I'm currently painting.
What's from
And
the Mark? What part is from the Mark One?
the roof, just
Ah,
the roof molding.
this
So
part.
can you see that's a bit of a bluish grey? Yeah.
Yeah.
So that comes off the top of the coach. So it's off a cut and shut coach because these are Mark One FKs which Hornby don't make. So I cut them all up out of other bits of other coaches. So I make all different types of oddball coaches. So I basically cut down a roof section and glued it into the top of the box frame
Gotcha.
of the locomotive, and then put an overlay on it to go over the cab area. A little extra because it's not quite as wide as the Irish loco.
Yeah.
Irish stock tends to be wider than the British stuff.
Yeah, it's 9 foot 6 inches loading gauge width.
Yeah.
It used to be. It's not anymore. It's the same as the UK now. 9
Yeah.
foot.
So there you go. I made all that, but then you see, to make the window frames, I did something you might find a bit intuitive. I cut rectangles of 10 thou, which is 1/4 of a millimeter plastic card, to the actual maximum side of the window frames, and I glued them all into the correct positions. And then I drilled out the corners and cut the window frames out, and then using a file, I very carefully filed the windows in, so they're not individually stripped windows. It's basically you stick a flat plate onto the side of the loco and pierce through in a one go, and then it saves a lot of messing about.
So you glue the rectangle for the window frames on first, and then you drill 4 little holes in the corners.
Yeah, and then I so I've got where's it gone now? Oh,
What do you use?
I have a little pin truck drill like that, you see.
Right.
So while it's all on the flat, you can drill your little holes in the corners of where the windows are, and then I cut them out with my knife. So I've got a nice sort of nice Swan Morton scalpel like that, and then I cut down the sides just inside of where my marking is, and then just cut across, and then you can push them in and snap them off, and then basically using sort of needle files such as these, I can then just file them to shape carefully, and then you can even them all up, and then you get the effect of a window frame.
Well,
in fact, it was just a flat plate.
I would be afraid that the central mullions, whatever they're called, would not be strong enough to take the popping in of the plastic, but I guess they are.
It's just, well, you just put a couple of strokes with your knife, and then you leave a good sort of half mil meat on to file back, and then you can always carve it back with your knife, and then do the rest with filing. That's how I did
Yeah.
that.
I'm also very impressed with how you do ladders and steps. They're beautifully there. Are they with these done similar? No, like they were done with like individual pieces.
Oh no, they're purchased. You can get various
Ah, okay.
ladders.
Oh, you should
There's
have. Okay,
I,
they're
I've,
so good. So
I
that's
think
a
they might be
priority.
laser cuts from someone. They came off the internet years ago. They've just been in the bits box.
Oh, they came out handy, didn't they?
Oh yeah, never throw anything away.
No, I'm the same too. I'm the same too. Yeah.
All sorts of bits and bobs.
So it's painted. It's painted in that austerity grey. Ireland was very poor in the 1950s. The war, even though we weren't directing the war, it devastated the
Yeah,
economy. So they painted everything grey for a while, and then they went to green. So this got painted in the
yeah,
grey. So what was it? Was that just a
yeah.
primer grey, or what kind of grey did you use?
That's Humbrol. I think it's Matte 27 sea grey. Again, I
With
just
it, is it
looked
acrylic?
on Irish Mod. No, it's an enamel one. That
Wow, with a matte
it's
finish.
enamel. Yeah, I think it's Humbrol Matte 27. Again, I looked on Irish Model Railways and just put
Right.
what's CIE grey, and it was saying, well, as near as makes no difference is Humbrol number 27. So I thought, right, well, let's paint it in that. And all the colour pictures of grey steam engines from Ireland approximate. So I thought, well,
Yeah.
that'll do.
Everything was painted grey, even the coaches and the. It was just so bleak. All the
Oh,
wagons were grey, all the
hell.
coaches were grey at one point, and then in the mid 50s they went to a green and yellow scheme. Now this actually eventually got that green and yellow scheme with yellow
It did.
hazard stripes,
Yellow.
and when it
They
entered
were
into, when it
very,
went when it got its number and entered the service,
yeah, yeah.
which wasn't much. All it did was transfer freight between the yards in Dublin, so it didn't even have a glamorous existence as a model, as a prototype.
Prototype. Yeah.
It was basically
Well, I
a
suppose the
glorified
thing
chunder.
is they'll have kept it near to the Dublin works in case it failed because it was such an oddball. Nobody else would know what to do with it because it
That's a
was
very
quite an
good point.
unusual machine, which would make sense because I think Bulleid's leader on the Southern was kept around the works in Brighton, that where it was built didn't really go very far from Brighton.
It
And I
makes
think all
sense.
the others that they planned never got finished and were scrapped part built. Yeah.
And where the buffers come from? The wide buffers.
Buffers. The buffers are
They're like class.
my other step in
They're like
my
class
stash.
33 buffers.
I have stuff like this. You see the plastic tubes, the
Yeah.
various little tubes. So I made the own buffers up. They were they were
Oh,
Lima oleo buffers off a
okay.
class
Okay.
47 or something, which I got as spares. And then I pared them down and then slipped some of this tubing over them. You see,
Yeah. When you built them,
I've got my own sort of stash of plastic card in my own little thing. So
yeah,
that's all my plastic card. Oops. And
that's what
on
I've got
this
that as
side, I've got
well.
all the
Yeah.
little sections. So
Yeah.
there's little squares and strips and rounds and all sorts of stuff. So I've got all this stuff, and I always want something that I haven't got, which is typical.
Yeah.
And then as it goes on, I've got my little bits tray, which I chuck them all in there, all my other bits. And yeah, I have all sorts of bits lying around. So all my full lengths are in my little storage unit that I made for myself. And then I've just got trays which I chuck all my bits in. So I always have if I'm looking for a small bit, have a look through my little tray to start with. And then if not, I get a full piece out. And then the offcut goes in the bits tray.
So when you sent it to Ireland and I got it, I was
Yeah.
I thought about putting glazing in it, but I'm not going to bother now. I don't want it. It's
Well,
a piece of art. It's a piece of art. I want to leave it as it is.
if I
It
do.
it didn't run very well at first. Uh, it was pretty bad. The reason was the wheels were dirty. That was all that was wrong with it. So I
Yeah.
I didn't want to open it up to clean the motor. So while it was running on power on the desk testing, I sprayed it with a contact cleaner just to see get some cleaning inside the motor. Worked a treat.
Yeah,
Worked a treat.
yeah,
And then I used a product called Peak, Peek. You get it in automotive
yeah,
stores. It's like a Brasso type
yeah,
polish. That is the best wheel polisher. You just put it on with a Q-tip, and it would it runs beautifully. And
yeah.
so it's I don't have the right coaches for it, but I ran a load of freight wagons with it, and it was fine. It's great, and there was plenty
Oh,
of
good.
it. So it doesn't need weight or anything. It's staying as it is. And yeah, so I was delighted with. So thank you for that. There's not many of these
Mm.
around, but I guess this is what you love, isn't it? You love getting building something that you can't actually buy
Stuff
in
you
the
can't
shops,
buy.
or is
Well,
wildly expensive.
I actually buy stuff you can buy, build stuff you can buy in the shops for the fun of building it.
Yeah,
I've got I've got I think I've got like a little idea in my head where I want all the stuff I wanted as a child
yeah,
detailed up, which is sort of the Hornby and Lima and Mainline and Urfix stuff from the sort of 70s and 80s, which is all the stuff I looked at in the catalogues when I was little and couldn't afford it. Well, I can afford it dead cheap off eBay now because you
yeah.
can still get a Lima diesel for a tenner, which you could in the 1980s.
Or they show up at car boot sales and flea markets all the time now. You'll see an old
Oh
box.
yeah,
I saw an unbelievable deal recently. I didn't buy it because I had no desire for it, but it was like literally a box of Fleischmann Profi N-Track with the points,
yeah,
the motors, and everything. I mean, there must have been if
yeah,
you go buy it today, there must have been nearly €500 worth in the box, and you wanted
yeah.
20 for it.
Oh.
So it's
Well,
amazing what you can find, and it's great fun when you find things like that.
it is, yeah, yeah. Well, again, a lot of people say eBay's expensive because of postage. Well, I live out in the sticks, so it costs me a fiver to drive anywhere, minimum. So if I have something delivered to my house for a fiver, I think that's good deal.
It's the same here. In fact,
It's
the only thing
20-mile round trip to get to the shops.
I take long trips to buy plastic card. In fact, I have to get a whole load of. I have to replenish my plastic card because I want to spend this winter doing a lot of building. So I'll go to a
Yeah,
shop. I'll take the train to a shop to get that because I need to see the
yeah,
pieces holding in my hand, and that kind of
yeah.
thing. There's one thing, those southeastern fine cast flush glazing kits.
Yes.
They're near impossible to get in Ireland, and I get charged massive import taxes on them because of the
Yeah.
stupid EU and everything. Now, I recently bought. I've got some Athearn HO F7 diesels, and I was
Yeah.
amazed to find out that they made them for the American ones. So at some point, I'll
Oh,
make a little
blimey.
video about fitting the flush glazing. It's like vacuum formed, isn't it? Now,
Yes.
I know you like this company stuff, don't you?
Yeah, I use it a lot in various locomotives and carriages. Um, yeah, one moment. Oh, this is a Brighton Bell set that I built out of the Hornby Pullmans, and that's fitted with southeastern fine flush greys. So I scratch built the cab, and it's got a Tenshodo spud bogey in it.
Yeah, that's
It's
that's
not
actually
quite
that's
the
actually
right.
one of mine. That's one of my projects for the future. I want to build a Brighton Bell.
Yeah, well, I can send you the details on that and how I did it. It's actually slightly short on scale length because they were actually quite long coaches. So I think it's about 8 millimeters short. But do you know what? I don't care.
No,
I
sure.
had fun building it.
Who was it? Ren that made a commercial one. There's some
They
UK
did, yeah.
and it's really short
Ren
though.
built one.
It's really short.
That is really short, yeah. So
Yeah,
I
it's like
I
it's
built
like
my own
the
out of.
it's like the Triang 110 DMU. It's like nearly half the length it should be.
It's about 7/8, isn't it? It's just
Yeah, but
not
it's not.
quite
It's
there.
nice. It's
See,
nice.
it's funny you mentioned the Ren Brighton Bell because I always wanted one when I was little, especially a brown one like I've got. My dad said, "We're not having one of them. It's Southern Rail."
I like the British Rail.
LMS
I
men
like the British
in
Rail blue one.
Lancashire.
I like the British Rail blue one is nice though. I think
Pardon?
the British Rail blue one, the Brighton Bell is lovely. I think it looked
Yeah,
really
not
smart that
bad.
livery. But I mean that's a beautiful thing. So that was the did you knock out the windows in that or and they're all solid
The-
big windows?
These these Hornby Pullman cars are really easy to change because what I do, I cut down the
Oh, I
sides of
see
the
them all.
doors here,
Yeah,
yeah, at each end, and then I just under the gutter there, I just score it very gently several times with a craft knife,
right.
and then you can just snap the side off and then file it, and then because the sides are flat, um, you can just rearrange all the window centers as you want them. And then what I do, where's it gone? I've got I've got this little straight edge with a mitre box it is with a straight edge, and then I just lay them on there and glue them back together with the solvent, liquid solvent. So I put a bit of solvent on, give them a rub, and then push them down onto the bed of this, line them all up, nice and straight.
Yeah, I've got one of them. They're brilliant.
And
You'd be lost without it. Yeah.
yeah, so you can I'll send you some photographs of how I've built that, and you can see it's all cut and shut in strips.
How did you Colin? How did you motorize the Brighton Bell?
Um, I used a Tenshodo motor bogie. It's a Japanese
And it's
manufacturer, and it's
expensive.
just basically four wheels and a little frame, and you just adapt them into the bogie itself. In fact, one moment,
Yeah, I've used them myself. They're fantastic, but they're not. They used to
yeah,
be. They used to be not expensive, but I think they're quite expensive now.
about £50 a pop. I think that's a Black Beetle one, which is very similar.
Yeah, they work great.
They were made in Australia. Oh, sorry, Italy, and marketed from Australia. So yeah, that's the kind of thing. Very similar sort of idea. They do them in different wheelbases, different wheel diameters, some spoked, some solid. And generally, you can get a motor bogie to fit whatever you want.
Yeah,
I've used them for all sorts of stuff. What have we got here? Bit dusty. I built four of these. These are Kersley Power Station locos, and they've got the little bogie in the bottom as well. See,
they look like
so that's
they look like the German E69.
they do a bit. They
Mm.
were built by Robert Stevenson and Hawthorne's for Kersley Electric Power Station.
Are they still
So
in
I
use?
built no. Two of them ended up at Haitian Power Station, were converted to battery locos. And when I worked at Riley and Sons and Bury, we actually worked on two of those. So there was two sent to the power station, and one of them's been preserved certainly because
The electric
we had to fit
locos
air brakes to them.
usually
The
have
good
they
good
usually
stuff.
have very long lives.
But then
Electric locos generally have very long lives.
yeah. There's a good story about them because they bought these locos, converted them to battery power, and they were shunting nuclear flasks at New Haitian Power Station without brakes. So they're knocking the brakes off because the locos didn't have continuous air brakes. And the railway inspector found out, went berserk because
They
basically
had
if the coupling broke, the
nuclear
blooming
waste on them. That's
yeah,
funny.
the nuclear waste truck would be just away and crashed into. Anyway, nothing happened, but they insisted they had a fail-safe brake because they were pulling the strings on there, which
That's
we
funny.
thought was hilarious. Like, so we had to fit air brakes to them so that they could run them properly. But yeah, so I've actually built an entire class of locomotives. Other than locomotives where there was only one of, that doesn't really count, does it?
Before we go to see what else you're building, let me show you what I'm working on at the moment.
Go on then, let's have a
I,
look.
I put the varnish on this for the decals, but this is a Irish Rail CIE D300 class. These were
Oh
very
yeah,
similar to the British 080, sorry, class 08, 060,
yeah,
very similar to the ones that the LMS built, but these were quite different as well.
yeah,
They had much more powerful engines, and they were actually really designed as road switchers as much as shunters. They did even pull
yes,
long distance freight trains on some of them, but I think CIE
yeah.
had three of these, three or four of them, and so this is an old Triang
I
080,
guess
and
that. Yeah.
I changed the grills on the front. I the boxes were all in the wrong order. I got them in the right order by cutting it down each size and flipping it. Boxes were in the more or less the right order then, descending on the Irish one, and then I messed
You
the put a
sound
new roof on it. So that's waiting on its decals. That's waiting on
you
its
sound
decals.
like Eric Morecambe there. It's all the
Right.
right battery boxes, not necessarily in the right order.
Not necessarily in the right order.
What did you
So
miss your
that's
specs,
one thing.
Thomas?
Now, years ago, I bought a GUF electric mainline locomotive in HO,
Yes.
which was a 484 with big central wheels.
Oh
And
yes.
the, whatever plastic GUF used back then was absolutely atrocious. The chassis shattered like glass, like it flaked. It flaked and shattered. This is from the 70s. Now
Yeah.
the body's in great shape, but the entire shot crumbled away. So I started looking online to see if I could build something that would go with this chassis, and I did. A Pennsylvania Railroad or1 electric, not the GG1, the famous
All
one.
right.
No, like a prototype for the GG1, and so this was
Oh,
short.
so you have a short version.
It was shorter and it had that wheelbase exactly, and it's almost the right length. So
Oh,
the body
excellent.
here is those. You ever see those Atlas? They're like static models. They make trains and military vehicles and cars. They're like you get them like a
Yeah.
five or a tenner. They're cheap if you look around. So the GG1, I cut it down. The hardest part is getting these angles here. Whereas this angle straight
Yeah.
up as I cut it, and you can see where I cut it, and I amputated it. So that's going to go,
Yeah.
on that. That's the next thing. So yeah, and this
Was that just a body shell yard, or did you have a complete loco?
no, no, it was the complete Atlas model. It's just a static model. It's like a kit. It's like they're made.
Oh, static.
Yeah,
Right.
it's not Atlas like the American manufacturer. It's Atlas. I think they're French
Ah,
and they import it from Hong
right.
Kong.
Yeah.
And they make HO and not British N, like a European N, and
Yeah.
HO. Even our British outlying stuff is HO, but they're fantastic. They're usually very high detail models. So you saw my GG1 that I had weathered. So this is going to be
Yeah.
on. So that'll be a fun project, and so
All right. Well,
I'm going to paint it in
again,
dark green with the. It's kind of I
it's
haven't found a
something
color
that's
photograph
not
yet.
readily available, isn't it?
That's the re there's no one ever made a model. I looked online and Varney, who was an American manufacturer, had a go at a kind of a hybrid version of this back in the 1950s, but it never went into production. And loads of people have made the GG
Yeah.
ones. But so again, like I said,
All
it's something
right.
you
Good.
can't buy. I want to build it. Just like you can't buy the Class D100, the 301.
Yeah. Yeah.
So that's what I've just started on now. So what are you working on at the moment?
Oh, blinking out what I'm not working on. I've been reappraising my freight wagon stock, and my parcels vans. So if I turn it this way, on the shelf behind me there, I've got all my Mark One full brakes. So there's two dark blue ones for parcels, and then the other ones can run in passenger trains or parcels trains. So there's one of them's here as well.
Right.
That's one of them. So they're part painted. So I've just put the light grey on, and I'm waiting on transfers. I've got a big transfer order in at Railtech at the moment, so that should arrive later this week. So all the white lining
What
transfers.
did you use to make it? What was it? Trying?
This they try and make a brake coach,
Right.
and it's a BSK, so it's a brake second corridor. So what I do, if you take the lid off. Well, it's not pretty. Well, it's not very obvious. Basically, I take. Well, you know, trying coaches, they all collapse if you take the roof off.
Yeah.
I cut the sides in half, and then
Right.
I glue two brake coaches together, and then I can get a BSK, which Treyang never did. Out of so I still get two coaches. It's just one's a short one and one's a long one. So the frames are cut down to 57 feet. I bring the bogies in by 3 millimeters because the bogey pivot's been moved because the bogey centers are wrong on the Hornby models. So I can buy if I buy, let's say I buy four BSKs, I can get four SKs and four BGs out of it. So that's what I've done
Yeah.
because it was a coach they didn't make. I mean, you can buy Bachmann ones, which are a better one than I'll ever build, but where's the fun in that? And I want the Triang stuff that I could get in the 1970s detailed. So I'm getting the best of both worlds there. I'm getting a bit of kit bashing, detailed Triang from the 1970s and 80s. And I've got the satisfaction of making it myself rather than just, being a box opener.
Yeah.
Hope I get chucked off your channel for saying that.
But yeah. Those I always thought those Triang initial coaches, the way they made them, the sides as a kind of a separate piece, I thought that was genius. I
Yeah,
thought more companies should have done that.
I think the reason for that would have been tooling costs because you've got one roof molding, one underframe, and the ends are molded in, and then you've only got one set of tooling for the sides, and then you can just make whatever you want. So that's got to be cheaper on tooling. So that must have been a cost saving, cost effective, engineered problem solved.
Yeah.
So
And,
I thought that
and
was that's
they detail and paint up great though.
yeah, they do actually. I mean, this is not bad. The hardest thing is getting your straight lines, but where's it gone now? I can't find it now.
The painting line, you mean?
I made this little tool. Now, if you look, it's like a little T-square.
Yeah.
So here you've got a piece there and then a vertical piece with a hole drilled in it. So what I do, the white line should be 7.5 millimeters from the bottom of the body side. So using this, oops, if I can hold it in place, that clips onto the bottom of there, and then I put my little propelling pencil through the little 1/2 mil hole, and then I draw a pencil line along the side there.
So
You can
use
see it's
use the
rolling
jig.
along. Yeah, I use that as a drip. So I've got wherever it's gone. So I've got tools everywhere. You know what a propelling pencil? Hang on, here it is. It's on the side of the computer. So that propelling pencil there fits neatly into the end of the hole there.
Right.
And then you run it along. And then what you can do, I've painted those blue on the lower half of the coach. And then I've drawn my line on. And then when I put my masking tape on, I butt it so I can just see the line, of the pencil line on the coach side. And then I know my masking tape's on straight and parallel with the base of the edge of the coach. And then of course, when you paint the grey on, or it works on red and cream and all the rest of it. Any job like that, you've got a nice paint line. So when you peel your masking tape off, when you put your lining transfer on, you just very gently apply it, float it on the water, and then push it into place with your brush with water on, and then your paint line guides your transfer as well. So actually, that having a slight lump on your paint line, you see, you can hear it, you can feel your fingernail. It's probably only about what, a few thou, 5 thou thick or something, but it's enough to butt your transfer up. You get a nice straight transfer line. You see, here's a Royal Mail van that I made. Again, it's another cut and shut. So I got a nice straight line. If I put it like that, you can see it's pretty straight like. But these are the Royal Mail, so they had grey ends on them, so they were more easily identifiable in coach rakes.
They look quite attractive with the grey wrapping around the edge.
Yeah, it does actually.
Yeah, oh,
But that was only on the
British Rail should
only
have
on the
done that with all
postal
of them.
vehicles.
Yeah,
Yeah. So you can get your nice straight lines. I mean that's pretty good
yeah,
for a
bang on.
nitwit and a loft, isn't
Did
it?
did did you use the Hornby ones for that? The Kitbash?
Yeah, these are just Hornby carriages. So I filled the windows in and then I put a 10 thou overlay on with the little tiny windows cut in them.
What's that weird thing on the roof? Is
So
it like
that's how I made them.
is it a ventilation thing or something or a hatch? The roof has a weird thing on
No,
it.
that was a VHF aerial. So when they were sorting the post on the move, they could report into HQ where the post was.
Oh, it's an antenna.
And I think it was also, yeah, it was a VHF radio. So lots of them have them.
That's interesting. Wow. And
Yeah. This is what books like this are for you. Me and my special books. And then for number series, you need this book, which is basically like a bloody telephone book. It's got every Mark One coach number diagram, what bogies they were fitted, what
very good.
regions they worked on.
Yeah.
So I can go proper full on train spotter and work out what coaches I want and what the numbers they were and get them all nice and accurate on my paint jobs.
What kind of filler do you use for when you're joining sections?
But then
What kind of filler do you use?
I use two fillers basically. What have I got here now? When on your oops, get rid of that. On your turf burner, there was some big areas that needed proper filling, but they had to be very securely filled. And also the filler can make as a part of a structure. So I use milliput, which is still in the plastic bags. It's a two-part
Yeah.
epoxy that you cut equal sections of and you roll it together. Milliput, that's the stuff. And
Yeah.
I press it into place. If I'm using it to bolster, sometimes I sort of put a little hashing on the plastic with my knife so it keys in a bit better. Um, and then what I can do, I can carve it and sand it to shape. But the thing with milliput, it's very hard. So sometimes when you try and sand it, if your substrate's plastic hard or the triangle sides or similar, you find you'll end up with the milliput's proud. So I tend to carve that back with my knife and get it undersized, depending on the nature. And then I use Humbrol model filler, it's like sticky toothpaste. And so I
Yeah.
knife that on
So
like a palette
I
knife
use the AK
and then just
interactive
leave
one.
it to dry.
That's
Yeah, same, but
it's water based, so you can actually run a
yeah,
damp finger over it and spread it out before you
yeah,
sand it. That's what I love about that. It's
yeah.
water based.
That's a solvent base. So the solvent in that is like plastic cement. So that keys in really well
Yeah.
to plastics and to styrene
I
models.
actually
And
flattened
it
that.
sounds beautifully.
I actually flattened that out using these baby wipes. They're alcohol based,
Oh yeah,
so that you can
yeah,
actually. That's what I used on this one. You can actually rub them down, so you get before you
yeah.
even sand it. You've got a lot of I got a lot of flatness already.
Mm. Well, I tend to use so in the cut and shut like with the Pullman, I'll use the Humbrol model filler like that because you're only filling a very small gap
Yeah.
at the most. And again, if you're trying to put milliput in, because it's so hard and strong, by the time you're sanding it off, you end up sanding your blooming coach side down to nothing, which is no good. A
It's
job
great
I've
for
just used.
Milliput's great for structural stuff though. Like for like the chassis that I built here, you see those two screws? I don't know if you can see that.
Yeah,
The two screws. That's how I'm going to attach the
yeah,
scratch built chassis. So they were milliputted
yeah.
into the UF shoes. And like that will never go anywhere. And plus I can adjust the height
No,
by raising the screws up and down.
oh, it dries like iron, doesn't it? You can drill and tap it.
Yeah,
As long as you don't go mad with your spanner or anything, you can actually just screw a bolt straight into it if you
yeah.
tap it out with a tap.
And it's not
But
brutal like some of the epoxy ones will
uh,
damage the plastic, will burn the plastic. That doesn't.
yeah, you see, what one job I've been working on is grain hoppers, Hornby grain hoppers. I've been detailing those, so I've got 11 of these on the go. I might have 12 because one of them's a bit bust up. It must have been a very. See, this one's had a bit of a repair on this corner, you see, But I've got another one
But they were the
that's in the
ones
right
used. They were
state.
the ones used in the Scottish whiskey traffic, weren't they?
Yes, they were. And then later on, they carried on going to Fort William on the Alumina trains up to, can't remember the name of the place, just north of Fort William. Is it Corpac? No, it's not Corpac, is it? Anyway, yeah. Up near the end of the Caledonian Canal, there was an
Right.
aluminium works there.
Yeah, didn't
Used
they
to
have
send them
like
up there.
Johnny
But
Walker
yeah, this is
branding?
return.
Didn't they have
Yeah, they
billboards
did.
on the side, advertising billboards?
Yeah, I've carved it off because I'm doing the mid 70s. I think they were all removed by about 1972. So
Okay.
I'm doing 1974. So there you go. But I've been detailing this. I've put the 3-link couplings on. I've put nice new Hornby wheel sets in. I've done the hopper. Oh, it helps if I show it on the camera. I've put the hopper detail in and the brake gear. So there'll be a hand wheel to go on there yet as well. Now on this side you've got the brake adjuster with its reaction bar, and on this side you've got the vacuum pipe that runs through from each end. Now one job I've done today, which I've used with milliput. Oops, take the top off. I made some vacuum cylinders. So again, they're just it's this stuff. It's 8 mil pipe,
Yeah.
plaster up pipe, 5 mil long, and then I pack them with milliput, and then I lick my finger, but only once, and rub them round, and then I leave them to dry. And then what I actually did, I put them in my little battery powered drill, and then using a file and sandpaper, I've got the nice rounded domes on them.
Yeah, the dome. Yeah, they look great.
And then yeah, and then well, the good thing is you don't really see them because when they're under there,
Yeah.
you can see them, but you don't see that they're not bang on. Good enough for looking at, or not too closely.
How
And
many of those?
then what I did was,
How many of those wagons would run on a rake?
but then
How many of those wagons would run in a rake, a full consist?
I don't, I don't actually know. I think they may have run in a complete rake up from say Moss End in Glasgow to Fort William or something. So I've got 11, which you could run as a block train, or you could just put one or two in a speed link and run them as a mixed freight goods train. So you could have a bit of anything in there. I think it's the kind of thing you just look through your books with photographs and see how the train consists are made up.
Yeah.
So I could do either. I could just have one or two in a train, mixed goods, or I could just run all 11 in a oneer. Who knows? Who knows? I'll have to do some more research, but I'll have 11 to play with when I finish painting them
And what was the
and do it.
basis for them?
Again,
What was the basis model? What model did you use?
that's the Hornby one. Lima do the later version because they had Gloucester pedestals instead of the W irons and UIC spring links. But apart from that, they were very similar. There's some good photographs of them on Paul Bartlett's site. There's a chap he just went round freight yards photographing goods wagons, and I think he's photographed just about every type of goods wagon that's ever run in Britain. So as a modeller's resource, is absolutely phenomenal.
It's an incredible
You
site.
can find all sorts of details, all sorts.
Yeah, that's where you found me
I've
that
used
Yugoslavian van.
That's right, yeah,
Amazing.
yeah. Because the Lima model is was it a
Yeah,
Yugoslavian prototype?
it's bang
It's
on.
it's actually a it's actually a HO model, so it's no good for double O gauge, but it's good for you with your British HO.
I do both. Yeah, there's
Just
a chap that I that leaves comments on here from Italy, and he said they were actually originally an Italian prototype. So a lot of them were paid in war repatriations and things like that.
all right, so they all end up.
You know, like the
Ah,
way
blimey.
you get German locos in Poland and France. So it's that kind of, I think something like
Yeah, yeah.
that.
Oh, blimey. All sorts of carry on.
Yeah, that's what makes the hobby so cool. So I think
Yeah.
I think we've covered enough for tonight, and thanks very much for that, and thanks very much for building me the turf corner. I absolutely love it. I'm very proud of it actually.
Well, I enjoyed building it. It was quite a good project because I enjoyed the research aspect of it because although I knew of the locomotive, um, I didn't know much about it. In fact, strangely, in this book here, there's a diagram of it because they used the wrong diagram in the book. Where's it gone? See, there's the picture of the leader, and there's is it there it is. There's the picture of the turf burner.
Oh, yeah.
So Mr. BK Cooper got his research wrong. He put an Irish loco in a British Railways book. Because I used to think the bloody drawing doesn't match up with the photograph.
Yeah, but it
And
was like
then years
that,
later,
that's how a lot of people in the
like
UK.
what, 40 years later?
I know, but that's how a lot of people in the UK got interested in Irish trains because there would be the odd photograph like that in a magazine or something.
Yeah, yeah. And there's quite a connection with the LMS railway. Bay of Peacock used to build locos. I mean, such as your Merlin are built, that was built at Bay of Peacock.
Yeah,
And the LMS had a lot to do with the development of the loco and indeed the testing of locos when they were delivered to Ireland
the
because they'd
North,
had
yeah,
experience of running the Midland compounds.
the Northern Counties Committee that ran north of Belfast, and they were
Yeah,
narrow gauge and Irish broad gauge. That was practically the LMS. It was the LMS and
it
all the
was. It was.
there was a bombing raid in World War II where like loads of their coaches were destroyed, and so they sent over basic LMS Suburbans, which I showed you the Grand Paris ones I had. I made a video of it, and
Yeah,
they actually ran with the LMS logo on them for years until the Ulster Transport Authority came along and bought the whole thing up. But yeah, I mean that was you built me the IBAT version,
yeah,
which
yeah.
I think I have a faint memory of seeing that actually working as a kid. It was used as a spoil train until the 70s.
It was.
Yeah,
It was.
I
I
think
think you
it's
can get 3D kits of those, 3D printed kits of those wagons, the spoil wagons, because they're
yeah.
quite an unusual wagon because they're not symmetrical
They're
because
really
they
ugly looking.
unloaded on what?
Yeah, I think
Oh
they're
God,
really
yeah,
ugly. They were for
they
building
are,
the
yeah.
M1 motorway in Belfast, and but they're a really ugly looking wagon, I think.
They must have dug some blooming stuff out to commission a set of wagons to carry the blooming dirt away.
I know, I
Must have been
know.
quite some project. Yeah, interesting stuff.
Okay, so thanks for all
Yeah,
that, and hopefully we can do this again. There's a few other things I know you have there I want you to show. I'm not going to mention now though, but that I think people would be interested in. But yeah, thanks for all that,
yeah.
and
Well, anytime.